Hello again. I am Shwa, the founder and host of Light Up with Shwa. My guest here is Ramin. This is our second conversation, and the conversation was so interesting and exciting that I didn't want to, end it with what we talked about earlier. So there are some more questions, more, things to explore with him. He has a lot of experience, and I felt that he has a lot of fascinating replies, answers, and you are a celebrity. So Ramin
I've
here
never been
again.
called that before.
Yeah, no. Well, I'm calling. All my guests are celebrities.
Good.
So Ramin, let's continue our conversation
Sure.
about what is failure in your view, because these are the questions that young people and old and anybody has. They struggle, like, am I successful, am I not? So you, because of your background and with your interfaith and intercultural marriage and surviving that and doing, not surviving, actually you did well, sorry, that's what
it felt like surviving at times.
at
That's
times.
okay.
But
Yeah.
reaching here with 2 grown-up children and all, what is success, what is failure with the businesses you have done, with the field you have been? Could you talk about that, please?
Well, let's talk about failure.
Okay.
I think failure is giving up.
Okay.
So as long as you haven't given up, you haven't failed.
Excellent.
It's, both in my work, there were times when a business I had was literally 5 minutes away from bankruptcy.
Oh, wow.
Things were falling apart, and I was
Is
just...
your blood pressure fine most of the time?
Yeah, yeah.
How do you manage that?
So that's,
Wow.
so it was, it turned around, but when I look back at it, it's not giving up. So as long as you haven't given up, I think you haven't failed. Failure is when you give up.
That's a good lesson.
And success is, I guess, the opposite of that. When you haven't given up, you have succeeded. Success, I really don't think about success. It's kind of strange in some way. If I were talking to you about business, I would be very clear about what success is making money and prospering and growing, and that's success.
Okay.
If you have a marriage, having a peaceful, tranquil life and growing life is success. But I do worry more about failure than I worry about success. That I don't like to fail, and so.
Good. Thank you. So what is to live a healthy, fulfilling life then, as this continues into that?
Well, I think recognition of our spiritual qualities and spiritual side.
Okay.
I think, unfortunately, a lot of unhappiness comes when we think of ourselves as purely biological or intellectual or sort of like an animal. It's that, okay, you feed it, you take care of it, it will be fine. I think it's very important to recognize that we also have a soul. And our happiness is very much dependent on that soul being fulfilled, what people call spiritual fulfillment. And without that, I don't think we will be very happy and fulfilled.
Wonderful. So would you define yourself, you have been living a mindful and mindful life, let's say, not mindlessly, but mindful life?
Struggling for it to be mindful, sure.
Okay.
Do
you have any practices like meditation, or do you do that?
Well, in my faith, as in yours,
Yeah.
Prayer is obligatory.
Yeah.
Fortunately, in my faith, we don't have one option of doing it 5 times a day. We have different ways to do it, but we have to do it on a daily basis. So daily prayer is obligatory. And meditation in the morning and at night is also obligatory. And also we have fasting during once a year.
Yeah.
So those are the times when you kind of practice and reflect and bring yourself to account, and you think, what you need to do next.
So you said about fasting, is it like Ramadan? Is it
Very
like 30
similar.
days? Not
Yeah,
30
it's
days.
no, it's 19 days
Okay.
because our months are a bit different than your
This
calendar.
is for the Baha'i.
For the Baha'i
faith.
And it's from sunrise to sunset, similar
Same,
to what you,
okay.
but it's same time of year.
Okay.
So we don't have the the wide fluctuations that you
Okay.
experience between summer and winter.
Yeah.
It's pretty much a 12-hour
Okay.
fasting.
Okay. All right. So good. That's interesting. So many overlaps.
Many overlaps.
So did you, seems like when we talked earlier that you did plan, you were conscious of getting into marriage, you decided to have also how many children, or like, you know, you
I don't think we
conscious decision
decided,
of
but it was a conscious decision to have
get
children. Yes.
in your life. So you were, at a place, both of you in a place that you were comfortable having children, not like it
Exactly.
just happened and
Right.
you're just lost with
Right.
it. Okay. So it was fairly a planned life, you would say, that you had? Like, did you plan? But I know that we don't, plans don't go always according to what we plan, but
Not
do you-
long-term planning, no.
Okay, no, okay, okay.
It was, okay, we're going to have kids,
Okay.
we're going to raise our kids,
Okay.
we're going to do our jobs, we're going to survive, we're going to do whatever we have to do and see what happens. It was never really a...
So you are so fairly, like you said, you risk, you take risks, and so it means you're a flexible kind of person. You're not a. Do you control the time and the situations? Do you dislike when it is not according to you, or?
No, I let things flow.
That's
And
nice.
sometimes that's not nice, but overall, that's my personality, my character is to start something and not be, and you have to do it in my line of business. It's like everything else is a balance. On one hand, you need to be very focused and very, centered in something. At the same time, you need to be able to sometimes change your best laid plans because things are different than what you thought. You're going into a new area that you didn't expect, so you have to change. So you don't want to be changing all the time because you'll never get anywhere. You just go
Yeah.
around a circle.
Right.
And you don't want to be so fanatical, so focused that you don't see anything else, any other options. So in my business of new startups, you always have to have at some point a pivot. It was called a pivot. You have to say, okay, what I was doing here, this business plan I had is not going to work, and that applies to life as well.
So I guess similarity, I'm just listening to you and I'm feeling, oh, this is like motherhood. This is like a parent. Like mothers have to be focused, but then they have to be flexible and flowing with the situation because nothing is sometimes planned, and children can be unpredictable.
Right?
And something.
Humans are unpredictable.
Yeah, that's
and
true.
children
That's
are very
true.
unpredictable.
That is true. That is true. What gives you peace and calm at this stage?
What makes you think I am peaceful or calm?
Well, that's what I'm asking. Maybe you're not, then you can say.
No.
You look calm, you look peaceful.
It's recognition that I am doing the right thing.
So you do appreciate yourself? Do you
I appreciate what I'm doing.
Okay.
Yes. That gives me calm. I have not upset anyone. I have not hurt anyone that I know consciously. That gives me peace. I haven't done anything that's destructive. Again, as far as I know, that's peaceful.
I have to ask your wife about that.
Right, yeah, I'm sure she will have a different story maybe. I don't know.
The wife knows.
Right, yeah, they have, and she will have a very
Okay.
different opinion of it.
Do you think so? Doesn't she appreciate you? You have reached
I
this-
think, I don't know. I never
No,
asked
does she?
her. Do you
No, I'm just asking. Like, does she?
She's put up with me for 40 years, so
Okay, so that is
that's,
an evidence.
I present that as the only evidence. Right?
Wonderful, wonderful. So let's go a little bit more about relationships, because I would say, with your relationship with your parents are alive?
No, both of my
okay.
parents.
How was your relationship with your parents?
Well, my relationship with my parents was very short.
Oh, okay.
Because I was shipped out to boarding school when I was 15. So
Oh.
I really spent 15 intense years with my
them.
parents.
Okay.
And then
And how was that? What is the memory of that?
it was fantastic.
Fantastic.
It was
Okay.
absolutely fantastic.
So do you miss not being there after that?
Absolutely, absolutely. That's why I would not have sent my, and I didn't send my kids to boarding schools
Okay.
or send them away. I kept them as close for as long as I could. Yeah.
No, continue.
Yeah,
So I was coming from that to your parents, I realized. So it means you had a peaceful household, you felt safe in your home.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, you know, we lived as a minority in
Okay,
a majority religion. So there
yeah.
were, so that had its
So-
stresses. You
yeah.
know, my ancestry is Jewish.
Okay.
We lived in Islamic, so I grew up in an Islamic school. So I was raised with Islam because in my faith, Baha'i faith, recognizes Islam as a religion. But we lived in a place where both communities kind of looked down on us or looked at us as other, as different. So we were minority with our ancestral faith of Judaism, if you will.
Wow.
We were always an outsider with the bigger society, the Islamic society, because we are considered as apostates, technically. So it was difficult in that sense, sort of growing up. But in my house, with my family, it was wonderful. I had a very good relationship with my parents.
Good childhood.
And they were, you know, hardly educated, you know, in that
those
culture.
days.
If you had a high school education,
was-
you were doing pretty well.
But the high school was different too. It's not the same high school.
Right,
That high
exactly.
school was kind of a college degree. That's what I've gathered.
I think so,
I
and also
believe
because
that,
both of them came from well-off families, they
Okay.
also had a lot of tutoring at home
Okay.
to study the Torah or the Quran and the Baha'i
Wonderful.
literature, so they knew the languages, Arabic and
So
Persian.
you have a lot of interfaith, intercultural, multicultural background.
Yeah, and I went to a Church of England school when I
Wow.
was in England. So,
So do you think that has contributed to you to be who you are today? More flexible, more open?
that experience?
Yes, all
no,
these-
no,
no?
I don't think so. I mean,
No?
it was, for me, it was a natural thing to be. When I came to choose to become a Baha'i, I automatically accepted that all faiths were one. So for me to be in a Church of England school and get up on Sunday mornings and read the sermon, as I had to do it, wasn't a very unusual
What I
thing.
meant was that is for you, but you being so open and it didn't matter to you that who you are and you have so much depth and diversity in you, that do you think that when you have, I want to bring is to have your impact on relationships, that you
Right.
are open and you're comfortable because you have been so
Right.
in different realms of
Yeah, I can.
faith.
I
and-
am very comfortable in a mosque.
yeah, exactly. That's what I meant.
I'm very comfortable
You
in
are
a synagogue
easy with
or in a
going-
church,
Exactly.
and I feel completely at home in those places without ever feeling that I'm diluting my own faith
Exactly.
in any way.
So that's what okay, exactly. That was my question that you.
I remember that question.
Yeah, because you interacting with other faiths, but you were already so much that you and continuing with your faith and being practicing.
It confirmed my belief
Okay.
that all faiths are
Yeah.
fundamentally one.
Yeah.
That experience.
That's wonderful. Wonderful. Thank you. So let's come to, do you think, okay, so how do you evaluate through your faith, or you have another ritual, that how do you keep yourself on track? Like people usually lose their faith or cultures, as you said that you made sure that you will give this to your children, and already having an interfaith, an intercultural marriage, and her agreeing. Was there a domination of one or the other, or you are both equally?
No, we were both
Or-
equal, but
okay.
our children were raised Baha'i because
that's what I
that was the universal thing, in
Okay.
a sense that it fulfilled our agreement
Okay.
that we would raise our children being familiar with all the faiths and not having prejudice against any faiths. And they each chose when the time came for them to be whatever they wanted to be, and they're both Baha'is. And,
So that was
they have
was it to
associated
ask, yeah.
themselves
Are
with
they
the faith.
practicing?
I think so, yeah.
Okay.
I think they are not maybe as active, say, as I am in it, but they are certainly practicing it, and they identify themselves as Baha'i. And my wife, after 12, 13 years, also became a Baha'i.
Okay,
so
from Catholicism.
Catholicism, she
okay.
became, but she she didn't have to. She wasn't under any pressure.
So it was her choice.
Absolutely, was
Because
her
otherwise,
choice.
if you had imposed, then you would have imposed the first time, the first day,
yeah,
right?
right, yeah. Well, there was no imposition.
Right. So she, any insight in that what made sense for her? Anything conspicuous you can share?
It was for her the recognition of the progression of religion, which is actually in Islam you have that. You believe that there was Abraham, and after Abraham was Moses, after Moses was Jesus, after Jesus was Muhammad. So you stop at Muhammad.
Peace be upon
peace be upon all of them.
Yes.
Exactly. I didn't know.
Sorry.
I knew the protocol, but I wanted to say the Christians stopped with Jesus, the Jews stopped with Moses, but we didn't stop. We kept going, and we believe that this is a progression of faiths that comes. I think that recognition for her was that she's not giving up something by becoming a Baha'i, but she's just adding on to what she already has. That was, I think, that was for her the transforming. That was what that realization was. What
I feel personally that it takes a lot for a person to convert. It takes a lot to follow and respect the faith and the culture, and to not, and the other person, like the way I see you at this time, and not imposing, but growing together and moving together with your challenges. Nobody is saying that there aren't challenges. I am sure she must have felt, or you must have felt. But did she ever bring her Catholicism or Catholic
no, she
faith?
was pretty disillusioned by the church.
Okay.
Not Christianity so much, but by the church. And she came from Mexico, which is even a more regressive faith of church, in terms of the way they run it. So she was pretty disillusioned by the church, but not by Christ, not by her upbringing.
What is what do you both do together? Are there any interests? Did you find those in the beginning? Have you continued, or have you developed into
we like the outdoors.
What activities, together, what do you really enjoy?
We go out for walks, we go canoeing. Together. We used to go skiing, but now she's not doing that. Focus on our service projects. We started 20 years ago a program on Saturday mornings to teach immigrants English.
Oh, both of you?
Both of us.
Oh,
and so we've been doing that almost consistently for this 15, 20 years.
Wonderful.
So we do that together. That's an activity that.
So it is immigrants, any immigrant?
Any immigrant.
Doesn't have to be a Baha'i.
No, it's a free program.
Wonderful.
Done in Boston, in Austin, and we do it from September to June.
So is it like a school? It's an institute?
School. Yeah, it's 60 people, 40, 60 students register. And
so whole year you continue this since 20 years?
So we do that together. On Saturday nights at our home, we have an interfaith gathering. You're always welcome to come.
Oh, I should.
Yeah, where we have people come from different backgrounds. We have a meal together, and
wonderful.
We have a.
And that is also consistently done.
Pretty much.
Okay.
Yeah.
Every month.
Every week.
Every week.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
When did you start this? When your children left, or were they part of it when they
we
were
started.
home?
We started it when our kids were in high school.
So they have seen this. They witnessed that. They both of you do this, and
Yes. In fact, they have both participated as teachers in the ESL program.
Oh, okay.
Both our son, when he was a student, he and his fraternity, they were they would participate as teachers, and our daughter, when she was when she finished her university and she had a job here for a while, she was also for several years she was a teacher.
So you all took certifications, ESL or no?
My wife has.
Okay. But you can always teach
when she
English
retired from her regular job, she picked this up.
Wonderful. So she's spending more time, or both of you are equally in it?
No, she's professionally not teaching.
Okay.
But the ESL is a free program that we've been doing it. And every time students complain about my accent or about the lack of having a certificate, I tell them, how much are you paying for this program?
Okay, don't question me, okay?
Yeah, right. Stop questioning me.
Exactly.
You're getting this for
sense.
free.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I mean, you speak
It's better than nothing.
Accent adds to the excitement. I think it adds to the. I like it because my kids have noticed every time I speak to, depending on who is in front of me or on the other side of the phone, my kids used to. I didn't know that. I didn't realize that actually, and I was like, whether I'm in Saudi Arabia or Pakistan or anywhere else, or here, and if I'm talking to somebody, they would know whom I'm talking to. They were like, replicate. "Oh, your accent changed. I know you are talking to auntie, you know, from Arab world or from Pakistan or from Punjab or so." So I do that.
I do that. I mean, just think I grew up in England.
Yeah.
I went to Scotland, so if I'm talking to a friend from Scotland, my accent
tends
to go there. Or when I'm speaking to somebody from England, the words begin. Yes, I think it's natural.
Nice.
I hope it's natural.
Yeah, it is natural for us. we are not imitating anybody. We are not mocking anybody, right? So that's what it is. All right. Okay. Thank you for all that insight and answering all that. So I want to go with a little more about. So let's go back to the interfaith. We have talked about it a lot. Anything else you want to share before we,
on the interfaith?
Interfaith or relationships? Well, because interfaith is also a relationship, to have, anything.
Well, you said it's very difficult to change your faith.
Yeah, that's what.
Why do you think it's difficult to change your faith?
For somebody like your wife who is converting. So no, I felt that it takes a lot, because I am talking not from the conversion I haven't converted into, but I did explore Islam as I grew. And it's not, I was born Muslim, but obviously you don't know everything when you're born or you're a teenager. You have to explore your faith. I think everybody should explore their faith. And learning about other faiths, to be honest, helped me to be more grounded and more clear about my faith.
But in your faith, if you studied your faith, you would also study other faiths.
Yeah.
Because in the Quran, there are very large sections that to do
Christianity
with
and Judaism. A lot
of
the
New
Judaism,
Testament and also a lot
Torah
of Old Testament.
and Bible, Injil. Yes. Yeah. So
I like to ask you a lot of questions.
I know,
about this,
but you can't. You can't. This is my time to ask. I know you are coming to that. Okay, why do you think that? But that's fine. It's a legitimate question. But I said it from the point of those who convert, from the heart and the mind. I feel I respect that so much. Not from a. This is my take on it. It's like, for me, it's like, wow, they are so beyond everybody that they can embrace whatever they have, because they don't lose that. Whatever the good is, I'm sure, because Catholics have a lot, and I have seen anybody who has been a good Catholic, I can see their morals and values, and not saying anything here. There's nothing. I'm just talking about from my experience.
We're both mutual friends in our board that are Catholics.
Exactly. And they are wonderful. I mean, any faith. But then I have gone beyond it. I'm not changing for anybody, but then I'm like, no, everybody has the same core. Everybody is there to respect each other.
Don't forget, the first Muslims had to convert.
Exactly.
The first Christians definitely had to convert. The first Jews had to convert. So there was. So the idea of conversion is a very fundamental part of each religion.
Yeah. Actually, some people say reverting to Islam. Sometimes some people say that, oh, you are born, Muslim, but you just are here and there, and then you come because of the values and morals.
Right. Yeah.
From the Quranic point of view. But anyways, that's a good point. Thank you for asking. If you have any other question.
No, thank you.
Okay, tell me about, is this life an illusion?
No, I don't think this life is an illusion, but this life isn't as important as we attribute it to be.
Okay.
My faith, many faiths teach that there is the core of us is a spiritual core, and it's the progress of our identity. Our mind is spiritual, is metaphysical. I think this life for us is a stage in the progress of our souls. The same way that a fetus in the womb grows. A fetus in the womb grows in arms, legs, eyes, none of which it needs in the womb. Right?
That's true.
There's all preparation for coming into this new matrix, into this new world. And if at the moment of birth, probably the child thinks it's dying too, right? It's a sense of, oh God, this thing that I'm so used to is coming to an end. I think this life for us is very much like that journey for the fetus, that the qualities, the arms and legs that we have to develop are our moral behaviors, our trustworthiness, honesty, love, truthfulness, humility. All these spiritual qualities are the arms and legs that we need to develop in this phase of our physical life, as well as dealing with the physical environment that we have. I think the soul, as all religions teach, is immortal. So it's going to continue its journey in other worlds of God.
So you believe in afterlife?
Absolutely. But not in resurrection or coming back into this world, or not in any sense having a physical sense, but it's...
The soul is transcending.
It continues,
And so we should feed the soul here, it means not only the body, but the soul. So soul you think is more important in that way? In order for us,
it's like, again, think of the feet. We need those arms and legs, which are the spiritual qualities. And I don't think you go to hell in a physical sense or to heaven in a physical sense, but both are spiritual relative degrees of advancement. The more you have grown, the closer you are to perfection, to God, the closer you are, the more you are in heaven, and less you are in hell. And the less you have developed those qualities, you are more in hell and less in heaven. It's relative conditions of states of being. That's my understanding. That's my faith.
I'm learning with everything what you're saying. I think with this answer, I don't want to ask anything because you have summed it up. That our journey here is what it is, and so important to move on. So that is a message of hope. I think that should light people up, that you are not ending, life goes on. Don't think death has end to your life, right?
But that's what all religions teach.
Right, but people don't really believe in that, right? They're like, okay, we don't know what's ahead of us.
Right.
So that's wonderful.
Well,
what a way to end the episode or the show.
Talking about moving on.
Thank you
You're
thank
welcome,
you so
Shah.
much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ramin.